Hi everybody, I'm Matt Norris. I'm here today with Representative Cheryl Youakim. She is the chair of the Minnesota House Property Tax Committee, and we're here today to talk about property taxes. Now, that might be kind of a nitty-gritty topic for some people, but I hear about it a ton when I'm out knocking on the doors. So, I know a lot of people are talking to me about how their property taxes, especially here in Blaine and Lexington, have been going up and up and up. What are some things we can do at the state level to try to help that?
I'm glad you asked. It's interesting because I used to sit on a city council where they are really the ones that are setting your levy and are the most involved in property taxes. But at the state level, we can do things like exclude value from the front end so you're not paying as much taxes, or we can help with an aid or a credit at the back end. And that's really where our focus is. So at the state level, we've looked at how to beef up that exclusion so you're not paying as much, or looking at the senior deferral, making it a program that's easier and more accessible for people, adding to our property tax rebate and our renter's credit to really help, because we're all concerned about the spike in values and what that's going to look like on the tax rolls in the fall.
Those are all great ideas, and you mentioned seniors. Now, we're actually in a community here where we've got a lot of seniors living. When I knock in areas like this, I hear from a lot of seniors who are worried about being able to stay in their homes because their property tax bill keeps going up and up. So what are some things we can do specifically to provide property tax relief for seniors?
Yes, so like I said, a few different things. First, in the tax bill that we finally agreed to at the very end of session, we had put in a larger exclusion on the front end. So some of their value was going to be taken right off the tax rolls. And then on the back end, we increased the senior deferral program. We changed the renter's credit, which may sound like it's, only young people rent. But our renter's credit all across the state, 40% of the people that utilize the renter's credit are seniors or those who are disabled. So it was really important to move that onto the income tax rolls so more people could access it and they could get their money sooner. We can also make sure that we reform the formula around local government aid. Now, local government aid is there for cities like Lexington, who might not have the same property wealth to provide those basic city services like flushing a toilet or driving on a road or calling a first responder. And in our House bill version of taxes that came off the House floor, I was very proud to carry the updated formula version. I was really disappointed when your opponent voted against it, and even more disappointed when I couldn't get the Senate Republicans to include it in our final tax proposal.
Well, you mentioned that final tax proposal, so that at first looked like it was a perfect example of bipartisan cooperation. Democrats and Republicans coming together to propose $4 billion worth of tax cuts for Minnesotans. But it didn't get across the finish line. So why weren't we able to get that money back out to Minnesotans?
Yes, one, it's very important for us to get some of that money back out to Minnesotans. And honestly, it was the biggest property tax cut that we have ever had in the history of Minnesota. So I was very disappointed we weren't able to get it across the finish line. 2 days before session ended, we came together as a conference committee, Republican and Democrat, to agree on a bill. A really good bill that I'm afraid we're not going to see that big of a bill in my lifetime. But unfortunately, my colleagues across the aisle would not agree wouldn't hold up their end of the bargain in the agreement on making sure that we also put investments back into Minnesota. And those investments included stuff like changing the local government aid formula. So cities like Lexington could help provide the services to their citizens that they've come to expect and deserve.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what I hear so much frustration about when I'm out knocking on doors, is people say, why can't they come together to actually get things done? And you and the tax committee provided a perfect example of how we can do it. I've done it 3 times. I've passed, just as a private citizen, 3 bills. Each time did it with the support of both Democrats and Republicans. So I'm looking forward to winning this election in November, getting to go up to the Capitol, working with you, working with Democrats and Republicans on both sides to actually get things done, deliver that property tax relief for Minnesotans, especially those here in Blaine and Lexington.
Well, and that's why I'm so excited about your candidacy and why I'm up here to chat with you about this, because I started out on a city council. I know that a lot of those issues up there can be across the aisle, Republican and Democrat. There's no Republican or Democratic way to plow a street. So it's important to have folks up there that are willing to work with everybody, and more importantly, like you, willing to really dig in and represent your community to make sure their voices are heard up at the Capitol.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Chair Youakim. I'm Matt Norris, running for the Minnesota House here in Blaine and Lexington. Go to votefornorris.com to learn more.